So we have the wholeness of the universe, the self, all that is, was, will be, and ever could be. And our mind imagines that to create a form, we have to take a piece of the whole and another piece of the whole and another piece of the whole. But in reality, what's actually occurring is that the self puts all of itself into every single thing. So instead of this and this and this taking away from the whole, there's less of the original left. What actually occurs is the entirety of all that is condenses itself down into a something. And then it does that again, something else over here, and it does that again over here. And it's doing this as a human being, and it's doing this as a plant. The allness, the entirety of all that is showing up as your mind and your body. And it began to strike me when I saw this that nothing is lost in that process. There is no diminishment when you take the entirety of all that is and make it visible and tangible. All that has occurred in that is that the invisible, formless everythingness has become perceptible, tangible to our senses. And with this understanding, the idea of this diminishment goes, because it can do this an infinite number of times a second and is constantly making these forms, condensing itself down into different shapes. Even this isn't strictly true, but it's the closest I can get in language right now. Really, there's only one manifestation, and all of these shapes and forms are really the ripple on the ocean surface. You could say, just like the ocean isn't diminished when a wave arises. And in fact, the wave that arises on the ocean surface is the entirety of the ocean. That wave could not exist without all the other waves and all the water underneath, the fullness. So when I really began to get this, I understood more clearly what it was meant when people would say, well, you are the Buddha already, you are Krishna already, you are the self already. And the Buddha, like the Buddha statue here, for me for a long time, the Buddha statue represented some mind and body that thousands of years ago woke up to the truth and taught everyone and was the founder of this whole following, Buddha himself. But the statue actually represents all the allness of it. And even all suggests more than one, but it's the best term I can find. So we use a form, a statue, to represent the allness, that the allness is present in the form, and that they are really the same thing. It can look diffuse, invisible, everywhere at all times, or it can look like a something or a someone. And that nothing has actually been lost or changed in that process. What does this mean for you then? What does this mean for understanding your awakening, moving beyond karmic patterns? Well, if you really begin to think about this, then any idea of incompleteness, unworthiness, not yet there-ness in your awakening will begin to disappear. Right now, where your body is, it is the universe itself appearing as a human body. And there can be no less than, not good enough in that. You are very literally a divine sculpture made out of the self that is the only thing that there is. Pure awareness looking like a human body. And your body is the Buddha statue. It's a representation of all of this, the allness of it, the power inherent in that which is here before creation is still inherent in every single cell of your body. And scientists have kind of begun to figure this out, that the universe is holographic. meaning that at any point in the universe, it contains the wholeness, the power, and the substance and everything. And we can even see this in science when we look at our DNA as human beings. We have the same DNA, pretty much almost identical, 99 point something percent of all the species. And if you look at a human embryo, it goes through stages where it looks like an amphibian, it looks like a fish. There's a point where it looks like an alien as well. All of this is just kind of to try to explain that what this is not really a body, that the form is the universe appearing as this particular thing. And when you really start to ponder this, it becomes quite amazing, because have you ever really thought about that every single hair on your head, the entirety of the universe has poured itself into that hair, appearing as a hair, or a skin cell, or a fingernail, or a speck of paint on the wall, or a speck of dust, or a distant star, or a galaxy. And it really begins to move beyond this label of body and form as having lost something inherent in the process of creation. Every single skin cell, blood cell, piece of bone, tissue, everything, even the skin cells that you're losing as we're talking, and who knows however many hairs we lose each day, new ones growing, the air that you're breathing in and out. It's not really what we think it is. It is the allness appearing as this thing. So why is this important? Well, if you can come to see that even the tiniest particle of dust is Krishna appearing as this, the allness, somehow pulling off this amazing trick of looking like a speck of dust, looking like a tiny, insignificant little thing. Then you can't really think about this for too long without really breaking through any sense of unworthiness. That what's looking right back at you in the mirror in the morning is the wholeness, the allness. It doesn't know, excuse me, it doesn't know how to divide itself into pieces. It never has. It looks like it does when it seems to somehow make itself into something. But the moment it makes itself into something, it hasn't lost any of its infinite power. It can create infinite number of forms, and is doing every single second. And forms are dying and changing constantly. And it remains its immaculate, it retains its immaculate purity. And what I would really like to get across, if I can, is that immaculate purity is present in all of the forms. When it does this, everything that is this, everything that creates the entire cosmos, the universe, all of the distant galaxies, all of it is appearing in each individual cell, even in the subatomic particles inside an atom. And if you really think about this, you're never going to be able to look at yourself again in the same way. Never going to be able to think thoughts about yourself that are judgmental or less than, or anyone else for that matter, as it really sinks in. Whatever you look at, wherever you go, whatever you experience, whatever you eat, the air that you're breathing, whoever you talk to, literally forever is the allness right in front of you. So it will always appear that this is a universe full of infinite number of forms that are all separate to each other. But what if that's not really what's occurring? What if it's really a one moving, changing, constantly undulating? The forms are just on the surface, so to speak, of this cosmic oneness.